What are we even doing out here, man? You got anything down there?
Not at all. Not at all.
Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the MISC RELIANT Mako. Let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, welcome back to another review. Today, the MISC RELIANT Mako. Thank you, Cypher1, What124, and Richard Pickman for joining me on today's review of this surveillance reporter camera ship. This is one of the variants on the Reliant series, and it doesn't have too much capability unless you do some modifications to it, which we'll go over here in just a second. It does have a pledge price of $95, or if you're to buy it in game, it's $2,513,700 aUEC. Definitely not a terrible in-game price if you want to get a ship that's meant to be a camera ship, but doesn't really have much of operational status out there right now. You're not going to be using it for pretty much anything because you can do many other things without the use of this ship when it comes to camera work or other activities. But it is cool if you're role-playing as a camera ship. I just wish that camera turret wasn't a remote turret design when you get into the feed, and it had a more of a look of an actual camera. But with that in mind, this ship does have a 5-minute and 21-second claim time, or expedited at 1 minute and 47 seconds. 1 minute and 47 seconds, that's pretty quick. And then you do have a stock burst damage per second of 656 due to the two size 2 CF227 Badgers, which you're like, well, that's not too much, and really, it's not. And then you have 4 size 2 Ignite 2 missiles, which, again, it's not a lot. This is not a combat ship, but you can modify it to be a lot more hostile if you wanted to. You do have a size 4 utility cap on the left or port wing, as well as a size 4 Reliant Cernan camera package on the starboard wing, which you can remove both of those and add a turret that allows a size 3 weapon on each side, or 2 size 2 guns on each side, allowing this thing to output a lot more damage. But again, this ship isn't meant to go out there and do any sort of combat. With that in mind, you have to make a choice. If you're getting this ship and you're doing that to upgrade it for combat, why not just go with the Reliant Tana? It's going to do a lot more for you, and this ship, you don't really need it right now for camera work. You don't at all. Now, with that in mind, this is a heavily modifiable ship. With that in mind, you can keep the camera, add additional guns. You can get rid of the camera, gun it out all you want, but you can't really change your missile payload too much. And then you have 2 size 1 shield generators outputting 2100 bubble shield, which isn't a lot stock, but that's because it comes with a little bit worse shields than like a fighter or something would. You can upgrade it if you wanted to. And then you have 15,460 ship HP, which if you look at it, it has 2 critical HP points, the nose and the body. The health pools on both are not terrible by any means. It's literally like looking at a Gladius for the body, right? So that's not a terrible health pool, but then you got to look at your speed and maneuverability. How does it fare out there in the world? You do have a top SCM speed of 220 with a 480 forward boost, a 250 backwards boost, and a top nav speed of 1,150. Not terrible at all, honestly, for a ship like this, which it has a flat pancake design, and then you can rotate the wings hitting left Alt K. It looks really cool, almost straight out of Star Wars. I think it's such a phenomenal design. I wish there was bigger ships out there with this, but then again, I look at this ship and I go, CIG, it hasn't had a love in a long time. We need to see some love on these ships. The Reliants deserve it. They deserve to have the functionality. You know, they don't have the components pass, no gold standard pass, no story storage lockers on this ship, which is truly too bad. And then you do have a 54, 43, 138 pitch yaw roll and a 65, 52, 166 boosted pitch yaw roll. Its pitch yaw roll is not terrible, but for the style of ship that it is, again, getting it stock, you have a good, CF package with the 2 guns, but then you have a camera. And you have to do all these modifications to make it worthy if you're going out there to fight. Do I recommend fighting with this ship? Obviously not. But if you are going to fight with it, PvE would be fine, as long as you add a couple more guns. In PvP, I probably wouldn't do that at all with this variant. Now, you do have 48 flares and 5 noise, and then you have 10.5 SCU of hydrogen fuel and 1.3 SCU of quantum fuel. The quantum fuel is truly disappointing for the role of this ship. I don't think they came over and gave it a pass by any means in that regard, because it does have beds, it does have an interior, it does have the functionality to do more, but it doesn't have that update to allow it to fly further. Let's go ahead and take a look at the interior really quick, just so you can kind of see what you get if you were to get a Reliant Mako, which the interiors for all these ships are a little bit different. Let's take a look. When entering the back of the ship here, this is the ramp, which you could fit potentially a very small Pulse or some other hovercraft in here. You're not going to fit anything like a Dragonfly or anything like that, and that would be insane, and I wouldn't even try. To close the doors on your left, right there, it's a hovering text button, sure. And then on the right, you do have a fire extinguisher. It's just not an updated model fire extinguisher. There is no engineer terminal. There is no any sort of components or anything on this ship as prior mentioned. And then over here on the left, you do have 2 beds. One is currently occupied, and then another bed down below. To the right here would I believe be the camera operator's seat, but at the current time, the camera operator is wildly drunk, as well as they don't really have any control over the camera in this ship right now from this seat. You have to continue forward, look to your left, you have a nice bathroom. You don't control the camera there either, thankfully. I appreciate that. You can pull out that bathroom though and use it if you need to, which currently I don't want to get anywhere near this because it doesn't even have a door. What type of privacy do you have with your co-pilot? Right behind you, you do have an area for some blades and other access panels, and your component areas right here in this little hallway, which you can't really access because there's no components pass. And then you make your way to the pilot and the co-pilot seat. Co-pilot seat will control that remote turret camera, and when they are in there, they can control the missiles using that camera, which, I mean, that's cool, right? But that's not supposed to be the intended function of that seat. You're supposed to be in the seat back there and using that camera to record things like a pirate invasion, or the Vandal entering the Nix system, hopefully doing it with a little bit of stealth, or reporting on a battle happening currently actively, and you are a reporter ship. Let's go ahead and enter the pilot seat really quick so I can show you what this view looks like. It is a fantastic view. I'm going to turn off my head tracking just so I can get a little bit more control here on the sides. Looking at this, it is such a fantastic view. It does have 4 MFDs and a radar right up front. And then if I were to go ahead and turn it on, you can go ahead and see I'm going to lift it up a bit here and close up the doors. Now, when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and close up the doors, hit the wrong button. I go ahead and hit left Alt K. Well, first let's put up the landing gear. Might as well do it proper, right? And then I hit left Alt K, and you can see it does rotate the wings. Again, major Star Wars vibe, beautiful, love it. It is such a great design, but once you do this and you're rotated, you have to be very careful. That door is now shut. You have no access to your rear area, and if you get soft dead, 90% of the time, you are stuck here. You're gonna have to exit the menu or hope for a swift death. Typically, I would hope that when you go soft dead, this would just auto rotate back to its normal position. Now, you do have 75 capacitors on both of those guns, which is honestly too little at all to do anything. You need more capacitor if you're just gonna have the 2 guns, and then if you add more guns, I wish it had more either way. Now let's go ahead and rotate the wing back on over. Now when you do that, as you can see, the cockpit just moves around you. It's super cool. I'm gonna put the landing gear down and give you a view from the co-pilot seat as well as that camera. Taking some time walking on that glass, nothing scarier. Hopefully you're not, really high up in the atmosphere when doing that. You might have a heart attack if you're afraid of heights. And then we'll go ahead and make sure this seat is on. Go ahead and go up here and take a look. Power it off, power it on, and go to the remote turret. And as you can see, it's just another remote turret viewpoint. There is no cool design or anything to show you that this is a camera and you're out there doing things, but it is a cool looking camera. It is a really cool looking camera. But honestly, out of all the Reliant variants, this ship won't be getting a very high score from me. It's honestly a ship coming stock quite useless. Even if you upgrade it a bit, it's still a ship I wouldn't pick out of all the Reliants. I'd pick the Tana. The Sen's a cool ship. It's a science ship. The Mako will have its use and ability someday. As of right now, not so much. So for me, this ship is a 54 out of 100. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed on this one. But the other Reliants do have a much higher score. The Sen, probably around this as well. But the Tana and the regular core do have a little bit more functionality and usability, which would score much higher. Probably is somewhere in the 70s and above. So let me know what you think of the Reliant Mako down in the comments below. What are you hoping for when it comes to reporter camera gameplay? Or do you think this is a ship they might just one day delete off the paragraph line and store page and say, well, I don't know what you're talking about, and that never existed. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being here. You all are truly amazing. And of course, I will see you all in the next one.